I'll go ahead and get started here. I think that we're going to have one more joining us. I just got a message, but we'll just go ahead and get started. I want to thank you all for joining us on webinar presentation today by Michael Hanzuk, who's going to be speaking about a couple of programs that the State of Alaska Department of Commerce, Community, and Economic Development offers to help entrepreneurs in the state of Alaska. But first, I give you a little bit of an introduction to AKSourceLink as a program, let you know some of the services that we provide outside of the webinar series, and give you some more information on ways to connect with us. I'll turn it over to Michael for a great presentation. So AKSourceLink is a program run underneath the University of Alaska Center for Economic Development, which is a part of the UAA Business Enterprise Institute. We've been a program in the state of Alaska for 5 years now. We're affiliated with a national program called AKSourceLink that has different affiliates all across the country. So other programs that are offering assistance to businesses in the same way that we are. We operate with a network of different resource providers. Right now in our network we have 145 different providers. Those are all university, governmental, or nonprofit entities. Some of them are regional, and like Chambers of Commerce that would only service a specific region. Others are ARDers that have a little bit bigger region, and then some of those are statewide organizations like the state of Alaska that you'll be hearing more about. Everything that we do is free of charge. The website is primarily the tool that we utilize the most, so everything is online. We did it so that it could be accessible across rural Alaska so that people weren't trying to always get face-to-face meetings, but rather they could access this information without phone calls and without having people locally on the ground, but rather just visiting this website to get connected to the resources that they need. Outside the website and all the resources that people can access there, we also have a toll-free hotline number people can call, and they can get that personalized one-on-one assistance. So what are a few of the different resources that we offer as a program? The first kind of bread and butter of the program is called the Resource Navigator, and it's essentially a search system that allows entrepreneurs across the state to get connected with these different resource providers without knowing what providers are out there or what they do. So as a business, you would put in a little bit of information about yourself, like your location and your industry and what type of assistance you're directly seeking, and you would get results pop up that talk about or that list out the different resource providers that could help assist you with that assistance that you're seeking. I just want to browse through the different providers. You can also look through it in a directory setting. You can get contact information and location, as well as a short description of what each resource provider does. So if you just want to familiarize yourself with the different resource providers across the state, the Resource Navigator is a great tool for that. Looking for more generalized information on maybe just starting a business or writing a business plan, or you're a woman in business and you want to learn the special resources available to you for that, or maybe this is your first time starting a business in Alaska and you're interested in some of that specific information, we have a great amount of generalized info in the resource library. It is all categorized based off of topic, so it's really easy to browse for whatever of information it is that you're seeking. Like the examples that I gave just a moment ago, as well as finances. If you want help with that, you can go to the financial section of the resource library, get a lot of information. The nice thing about following the links through our library is that they all go to trusted websites and resources. In fact, many of those resources are coming directly from our resource partner network. So you know that nothing that you're clicking on is going to link you to any sort of scam or anything like that. It's all been vetted and it's all trustworthy. We have a blog that we put out once to twice a week. It's a shared blog amongst the different AKSourceLink affiliates, which I think is kind of cool because it offers both an in-state perspective on business as well as an out-of-state perspective. So it's a good opportunity to get a lot of technical assistance that's coming from inside Alaska and also from outside Alaska from a number of authors located all around the country. For more business-specific news to the state of Alaska, you should subscribe to our e-newsletter, which you can do on our homepage of our website. We send out notifications about once a month, which is updates on different events and things that are happening across the state for small businesses, as well as different tips, trends, and talk that you should keep up to date with. In fact, you'll also get some notifications from time to time about cool things that SourceLink is doing, like this webinar series. So if you want to stay up to date with everything that our program has going on and that business news across the state of Alaska is going on, you should definitely follow that newsletter. I do want to mention our statewide event calendar. We highlight different business events that are happening all around the state. It's kind of cool the way that you can interact with the calendar. Firstly, because each of this is color-coded based off of the type of business event that it is. So you can select which type you're looking at and just follow that singular color code. So it narrows down that scope of what you're looking for. Also, especially if you're located outside of South Central Alaska, you can scroll down beneath the map or beneath the calendar to the map of this Alaska. And it's an interactive map, so you can click on the region that you're located in, and it will narrow down all the events on the map to only those events which are accessible to you in that region. So that's neat because it shows you not only the person-to-person events that are happening, but it also shows you all the different webinars that you can get involved with, much like the webinar today, that's accessible regardless of what region you're located in. Outside of the website, we do some social media work as well, so you can stay up to date with the most current things that we have going on by following us on our Facebook page. Or if you're a Twitter person, you can also follow us on Twitter. And finally, if you'd like any personalized one-on-one assistance, you can always contact us. Like I said, my name is Melissa, and my contact information is right there on the right-hand side of the page. And finally, I want to let you know that we do have one more webinar left in the Build Your Business Rural Entrepreneur webinar series. It is September 23rd, and I will be presenting on business plan breakdown. We're going to spend just about an hour introducing the different sections of a business plan, talking about why each section is important and how to go about tackling that. So with that, I'm going to go ahead and turn it over to Michael Hanzuk.
Thank you, Melissa.
There you go.
Are we on, or am I? Let me
Yep.
This.
I do the presenter capability, so you're good.
Okay. Can we see my presentation?
Reshare your desktop.
Oh, I'm sorry. My apologies. Hold on, folks. Let me. It is. Got it. We get that.
My end, so hopefully it's coming up to other
Okay,
folks.
hopefully, and I can't see those folks that I'm speaking to at this point in time. So if those folks that are joining us would just let you know whether or not we can or can't, we'll make some modifications and make it happen. But I want to thank you very much, Melissa. My name is Michael Hanzuk. I'm working with the state of Alaska. I work in the Division of Economic Development, and I'm very happy to be with AKSourceLink and present on one of our programs, one of the many programs that we do have within our that we house in the Division of Economic Development. I oversee the Maine Alaska program. I'm the program manager for the Maine Alaska program. I'm also program manager for the Alaska Product Preference program. And what I was doing today is I was sharing with the audience just one of the many programs that we do have in-house, and that is the Alaska Product Preference program, where businesses have an opportunity to that are manufacturing products that they can sell to the state and obtain a preference of 3, 5, or 7% on their products over and above products that are sold from the low 48. And I'll kind of go through that, and we'll review it, and we'll take a look at it.
Okay, got it.
Okay, we got it.
This is Kelly Rivers. I'm sorry.
Okay, hey, no, I'm happy that you made it. I'm glad to see you on board with this. And if you want to go ahead and mute you, we're just getting started, but you missed a great presentation to start up by Melissa, but we'll catch up with you, you and her later. Okay? Just getting started on the product preference. Folks, just FYI, Kelly has a large company up north, and he's very interested in the product preference program, so I invited him on board. I'm going to go through this fairly briefly. If you do have any questions, if you want to click a button or raise your hand or just send Melissa a note that you have a question, I'll be more than happy to answer them either during or after the presentation. So let's just go ahead and move on. Some of the basics that we're going to cover in the overview is the procurement basics, the preference programs, which are multiple. This has many preference programs. Matter of fact, there's more preference programs in the state of Alaska than any other nation in the state. The classification, how do you classify a product? Application process, website location, and contacts. Procurement basics, I'm not going to go into a whole lot of details because I don't want to confuse anybody, but there are some the state of Alaska buys goods and services through a procurement buying process. Goods and services are produced in several ways depending on the value of the goods or services being sought. If any of the folks out there have a service, some references that will apply to services you should take a look at. This particular presentation is based on products, but the concept is about the same, so we'll continue on with it. And most of the bids are based on the low costs using the request for quotes, which is an RFQ. Quotation to bid, which is the acronym is ITB. And so you hear those in the future, you might, oh yeah, I remember that. Request for quote, RFQ, or an invitation to bid. That means the state or even your local government is looking for products, and they are looking for some quotes, specific pricings. Maybe it could be for your service, it could be for a product. The bids are based on the best value, including the cost, the experience. I mean, how long have you been in business? Have you worked with the state before? And they do keep a track record, the type of service that you provided or the type of products that you provided. The state of Alaska announces formal requests for bids through an online public notice system. And you'll see that I have a hyperlink here, and that will take you to the online service, which you can register for and have emails sent to you directly and identify maybe areas that might be of interest to you. Okay, so there's everything from the Department of Transportation, could be the Department of Corrections, could be the ferry terminal system. It just kind of depends on the service that you have or product that you have that you want to sell. Okay, this is a marketing. You might want to consider this as a marketing tool. Get your business name out there. Stay in touch. If you want to generate, maybe the tourist season is a little bit slow or it's dying down, and you're getting ready for the winter season, and you want to maybe create and generate some additional sales. This might just be an opportunity for you to run your business and pick up additional amount of sales that you might need to get over the hump. Let's go on. Local businesses are highly encouraged to look at these preferences and, take it. Even if you get involved, it's nice to know what is out there. So let's go ahead and move on. The preference, the procurement basics. Preference is provided to qualified businesses in Alaska, which the state uses to evaluate the bids. Products produced in Alaska by registered local manufacturers or producers have a preference over non-Alaskan products, which is something I just stated earlier. The state bids can range anywhere from $50,000, which is kind of considered an informal bid, to as much as and more than $100,000. Can you imagine doing anywhere from $75,000 to $100,000 in sales just to the state? That could be a service or it could be a product. Now, the question is, how do you get involved? Am I going to Melissa?
Me, Michael, but
okay.
anyone else can chime in too.
Okay.
I'd let folks know just a couple of housekeeping things real quick. I did mute people's lines because we were getting a little bit of background noise. You can unmute your line if you scroll over your name in the upper right side of the page where participants are listed. Once you scroll over your name on the very right side, it'll have a little microphone, and you can choose to mute or unmute it. So if you do have a question, you can always unmute your line and ask Michael over the audio. You can also utilize the chat box which is just beneath the participants list. Make sure that you're sending it either to everyone or else to the presenter. Otherwise, sometimes it goes just to the presenter privately, which is fine. It just means that only I can see it as the host. So just to let folks know, if you do have questions as Michael is presenting, or you want him to slow down or speed up or any of that, you can always comment that way too. Thanks.
You're welcome. Hey, no, thank you very much, Melissa. I have a tendency to, because I've said, I've presented this many times, I have a tendency to move a little bit too fast. Maybe there's something that somebody does have a question, at that time, and they would like to ask. If you do see something that somebody had a question, just feel free to stop me anytime. I was mentioning the preference programs earlier that the state has. As you can see on the screen right now, you'll see 10 preference programs that the state has. Obviously, the Alaska Product Preference Program is the one we're talking about, so that we're going to cover. But there's the offers preference, the bidder preference, employer's preference, agricultural and fishery products preference, local forestry recycling product preference, employment program preference, with disabilities preference, and veterans preference. And on the links that you will be provided are contacts for any of these programs, and they are listed on the state's Alaska Product Preference website. We have a link to a glance, so you'll be able to, if you wanted to, you can download a PDF version at a glance of all of the preference, and they are referenced by statute. And you can always contact anybody, myself or any of the preference of the procurement staff that are listed on the confirmation. You do identify and register your products or services produced, number one. Okay, they all have a value in Alaska. Your service that you provide, products that you produce, all of them have a value. I know for a fact that the procurement, the governor a while back is if you go to the procurement website, you can take a look at the increase in local businesses that have been contacted and utilized in the state of Alaska for providing either services or products to the state. It's grown substantially over the years. Number two, participate in any and all of the preferences depending on your qualifications, okay? I'm not saying that it's easy. I'm not saying it's simple. I mean, you need to make time in your business, just like you're going to market to a whole different audience. You are in the process of trying to find another source of revenue. You're trying to find your target market. This is one of them. The state purchases an awful lot of products over the years, and we'll kind of take a look at the product preference program as far as the businesses listed. I'm going to give you a real live snapshot of the website, and you can take a look at the various products that are utilized and registered with the state. If you're a manufacturer's products, manufacturer producing products, you can register. They could be worth about 3%, 5%, or 7% of preference in a state bid. Well, what that means here in just a few minutes, but be proactive, not reactive. I mean, if you're going to be involved in trying to market your product or your service within the state, you need to get a jump on things. You need to get familiar with the process. We also work with PTAC, Procurement Technical Assistance Center. Jody and I have worked for many years, worked with small businesses or large businesses on how to target either federal or state bids. So be proactive. Take time out to take a look at some of these programs. Let's take a look at the classification of classifying an Alaskan product, okay? Products, according to the statute, to AS 3630-332, you can see that the classification of Alaska products produced are classified with a value of 3, 5, or 7%, as we stated earlier. What does that mean? That the products are determined by how much is manufactured in state. 1% gives you means the product's got to be produced 25% or less than 50% produced in Alaska. Class 2 for 5% is 50% and less than 75% produced in state. And anything Class 3 products, 5% or more produced in the state of Alaska receives a 7% preference. Okay? Local preferences, mind you, local preferences may not apply to federally funded projects. These are strictly state-funded projects. Could be the development of a road, could be development of a building, where the state funds are being used to work with a community or a local project. Okay? What do we mean by applying a preference, a percentage to a product? And what I've done is I've kind of put together a little bit of an example before a preference is applied. What does it mean? Okay, so we're going to focus pretty much at a hypothetical situation where the state has a bid out and they're looking for 100 units of some product, and it might be one case that has 100 units in that case, and let's call them widgets. Okay, that case is going to cost, your normal wholesale price might be about $15.50. Okay, extending out to the state purchasing 100 cases, it's going to be about $1,550. The charge is about $30. That's and the shipping costs might be about $100. Okay, so your total bid on a project that you might be interested in pursuing is about $1,680 is what you figure. Okay, because it's a product preference program, we'll use the 7% preference. Okay, whereas you apply 7% to the product's value, that's it. Not the pallet, not the shipping. It's just the product. Okay? So you apply 7% to that, and that shows you the product preference applied is about $108.50. That can be that. Now, let me preference the rest of my presentation by stating the preference scoring process is used strictly for scoring only. That means that when the state is looking at a bid, they score those that have provided a proposal. They're going to score it based on preferences applied and the dollar value. Okay, that's it. The dollar value does not mean just because there's 7% or $108.50 is going to be deducted from the product. That does not mean they're going to deduct that from the cost of the product. It is only used for scoring purposes only. Okay? So we're going to take a look at the $108. We're going to deduct it from the product. It's going to be valued or estimated for scoring purposes only at about $1,441.50. So when we can look at the after the preference is applied to the product, you might see on a application for a bid, you might see in another column, are you applying preference? And you might want to say yes. They'll say, how much are you applying? And that column might reflect, okay, $1,441.50. You won't be able to include the pallet charge. You won't be able to include the shipping charge, but your total bid price would end up being about $1,571.50. Okay? Now, I've shortened this a little bit. Like I said, I'm going to kind of be brief on this. But what I wanted to do is, if you look on the bottom left-hand side of your screen, you're going to see a bidder A, a bidder B, and a local bidder B, and a local bidder C. Okay? Bid A is out of state. Might be somebody down in the lower 48 that says, yeah, we can get that product to you. Here's our estimated evaluated cost. It's going to be about $1,632. Factor B you look on the very far left-hand side column. Actually, I've kind of applied this as department, the DOC in the top left corners. Kind of that's the acronym for the Department of Corrections. They have bid blah 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 out. So these are the factors that determine the winning bid. Is factor A, is it Alaskan owned? The evaluation of the cost. The factor B, the delivered product. Is it delivered or is it drop shipped to another location and the state has to pick it up? That's what that means. But the total bid amount is at the very bottom. You'll see that if you look at the second column with local bidder B, the APP list, okay, for A, is it Alaskan owned? Yes, they're Alaskan owned business. The evaluation cost. Oh, well, we applied our preference program to that to this bid, and we are posting it as $1,561.50. Factor B, it is delivered also. So the bid that comes out, wow, okay, well, wait a minute, it's $1,680. Well, higher than the bidder from out of state. Well, necessarily. Let's look at bidder C. Bidder C, factor A is Alaskan owned. Okay, it's Alaskan owned business. Did they apply the preference program or the product preference program? Doesn't look like it because their bid is $1,680. Is it delivered? Yeah, it kind of met the specs that everybody else is meeting. It is a delivered product. Well, wait a minute. The bid amount is $1,680. Seems to be bid as the local bidder A, or local bidder B. But look at both bids, the Alaska State bids. The bidder A seems to be a lot less, but now this is going to apply the product preference program, and it looks like bidder B is the only one that used that program. Now, mind you, if you have a service company, this is applied the same way. And here's a bonus. The preference can be compounded. Okay. So you may be thinking that you're only applying the 7% to a product. Well, wait a minute. You've got a bidder's preference you're going to apply. That might be another 5%. Oh, you'd be employing disability folks with disabilities. That's another percent that's added on there. So by the time you get done, you'd be applying 12 to 15% to a bid and to obtain the award. Okay? So look at the column there. You're looking in the green. The bidder B is actually win the bid because they're going to score where the bidder B applied the preference program. Let's move on real quick. Did I confuse anybody? I hope I didn't. Like I said, I'm being short and I'm being brief. But if you have any questions, feel free to ask me, and I'll be more than happy to follow up with that. And what I'm going to do is, right now, we're going to take a look at the product preference program itself, and we're going to look at viewing the categories, viewing the companies, viewing the products, and definitely the online application. And we're kind of going to do this in live. And let me swing this over. And guys, you folks are going to have to let me know whether or not you can see this. Do you see the product preference website now?
Yep, can.
Okay, that makes good sense to me. Product preference website, and to get to it, it's very easy. You're going to find that most of the state's programs are accessible very easily to the state's homepage. You click on the tab, and most of the programs that the state has are listed right here on this page. Coincidentally, the product preference program is underneath state contracts, and there we have other business resources. Now these are resources within the state. Okay, I have links actually to AKSourceLink, other resources for business support, or Small Business Assistance Center, but that's another story. In the meantime, right now, what we've got is we have a prep program that's followed by everything that I just got done discussing and talking to you about. This is pretty much driven by statute. It's under the procurement statute. The Department of Community and Economic Development, we pretty much just oversee the application process and try and help market and promote those businesses that are listed on this website. I'm not going to get into the view categories too much, but we're just going to open one up real quick. The categories are generated and listed under, and as you can see, it takes just a few minutes. These products that are listed in these categories are what they call the NIGP company service codes. Now, designed to be and reflect products, okay? But the NIGP codes are National Institute of Government Purchasing codes that are used in local and state agencies. They are to identify products that this local government or state agencies are utilizing. And every state in the nation uses these these codes and these categories. Now, the state of Alaska is in the process of going from a 5-digit code to a 7-digit code, and that's pretty much to identify more of the locally produced products and services that are provided here in the state of Alaska. That's just a few years down the road before I think it's implemented, and I'm not going to speak for procurement, but they are in the process of developing a website that's going to be open to the public. It's going to be open to everybody, and you'll be able to see what is being utilized a little more clearly, and it's going to be a lot more transparent from what I understand than even what the checkbook is that's on the governor's website even today. So these are the categories that are listed. There are 3-digit codes. As you can see, there's a lot of categories, and what I've done is out of the multiple categories used under the NIGP codes, this has 66 categories listed at this point in time, and I've gone and working with the IT folks, we've been able to actually identify how items are in each category. Okay, now like I said, I'm not going to get into this too much, but here's the bonus. Products you are seeing right now are listed on each and every single one of these businesses, and these are all businesses that are one way or another looking at doing business with the state. They're currently are listed with the state and selling products, or they've just learned about it and they want to get involved and they're looking to pursue some additional sales. As it stands right now, we have about 92 companies listed, okay? And we're just going to look at here's my spot. Let's go with food products, okay? And so I'm going through this. I hope you guys aren't getting dizzy. We have food products. We have, I know Taco Loco is in here, and everybody's familiar with Taco Locos and their tortillas. They are registered with the state. This drop-down box, the bonus to this is if you are a bidder, if you are looking at selling a product to the state, the thing is the state may be looking for more than one product. Work business to business with these other businesses and combine your bid package to include others. Most of the distributors will go to this website and utilize this list to identify and to gain the award by incorporating the companies onto their bid proposal. They will get the 5 to 7 or the 3 to 5 to 7% preference. What do you get out of it? Increased sales. You get volume generated through your business. Okay. Now, I'm not going to go into it right now, but there is a the state does have a website on the procurement side to where you can tap into. You can look, because we're talking food products right now, we'll talk about what is available to the public. That is the documents and the information about who the distributor is, who's selling it, and what department or division is purchasing that product. Okay, so you'll be able to tap into that distributor and say, hey, I know you're selling product to the state. I know you did a bid last year. I have this product, blah, blah, blah. We have widgets that are registered with the state. Next time you go to do a bid, we'd like to have you consider our products. If distributor is serious about winning and gaining that award, use any resource they can to obtain that bid. As you can see, we have a lot of different variety of businesses. We've got everything from sheet metal producers to construction builders to you name it. On your fuel companies. Did you know that we make sheet metal siding and roofing for your homes here in Alaska? Here's one of them, Magic Metals, and located in Palmer. A little trivia information. Bottom line is, because the program is designed to support and promote products produced here in Alaska, the more the focus is on the products. And we even got fish wheels here. I didn't mean to pop that one up. It just happened to be that one that I clicked. But if you look at this, the products are geared to be stand out first, and then it connects to the companies that produce those products. As this is one company here, and if we go back, let's see, it can open up their list of products. Let's see, building, construction, let's just say prefabricated mini buildings, how many companies are producing building. Wow, company, Alchem, that produces a variety of products. As you can see, these products are being promoted on the state's website for everybody and even in the state to use. The classification code that the product is produced is Class 3 product, the buildings, and they're produced and manufactured here in the state of Alaska, 75% or more. This business, their product was approved back in 2013. This program allows you to list your product for 2 years, and it's free. And it's a hot spot with many. As long as you stay on top of it, you register every 2 years, just update your product, and it'll be listed on here. So we're running out of time. We got about 5 minutes left. One of the things I wanted to do, hope that answers some of the questions about the product preference program. I'm going to go down. We're going to hide this a little bit. I'm going to go back to the product preference PowerPoint, and what we've got, we've covered the view categories, the view companies, the view products, the online application. This is something you need to be aware of. And let me just go, I'm going to move fast. And Melissa has a threefold flyer that can be presented or sent to you. It does have the contact names and information. Also, the PDF, the PowerPoint presentation here is in a PDF format, and it has hyperlinks to the places that I'm going to talk about next. As you can see, the APP website, this will link you right to it. The application form, yes, Kelly will talk about that later after we get off the, when we get done with the presentation. Here's some links, the website location, the online application process to obtain information. Let me do this. I am going to go to, I'm going to show you something real quick. The online application, we're going to go back to this. Go to the state's website, the business, and I'll show you that on the online general services. Now remember, I told you this is like a 1-2 click and you're there for a lot of business resources. The procurement information, this is general services. And you can see that this is actually your door to everything that you can imagine with the state of Alaska in this procurement, getting involved with selling products to the state. The online public notice is right there. You can click it on, and this is what it looks like. Okay? So I didn't want you folks to get lost somewhere in the sometimes a maze of websites and links. But if you take a look at this, this is we have a hyperlink to, and it will be able to provide you with a lot of information. You can also contact the procurement staff, and you can let them know, whoops, up on the screen, you can let them know that you're interested in some more information. They'll be more than happy to provide it to you. Okay? Now, let me go back here. Like I like to do live presentations versus PowerPoints, but you get the gist. The information, like I said, is under the Business tab. We have the online public notice that I already presented to you, General Services. That website also links you to the alaska.gov, the procurement section for the Department of Transportation. Alaska Product Preferences at a glance. I did this earlier, and take and scroll to the bottom here. You will see how to get certified in the Alaska Product Preference Program. Driven, this will help you to identify what Alaska looks at and means by a product. Okay, these materials or supplies, but does not include gravel and asphalt. Statute, gravel, abundance of here in the state of Alaska. Asphalt doesn't count. But the online application for the preference program, we didn't get into that. But here's the preference at a glance. And this is what I was referring to. If you're interested, you can look into this a little bit further more. It has a little more detail about all the preferences that are listed in or on the state of Alaska's website. Okay. Now, with that in mind, my contact information, and this is at the end of the PowerPoint also. My contact information is on the website, along with Matt McGee's, who I work with a lot in the Department of Administration. He would be happy to provide you with any additional information that you're also looking for. Real quickly, before we close out, what I'd like to do is inform you of a couple of the other programs that we have within the state. And I know, Melissa, that we're running out of time. In fact, I think we got about 2 or 3 minutes left, at least by my clock. The Maine Alaska program, most of you already are aware of, or if you're not, it is designed to help to promote and market products that are produced here in the state of Alaska, along with a Alaska Grown, Silver Hand, and the Alaska Product Preference program. We have the tourism program, which is that I have on this PowerPoint. You can hyperlink and find out more about that. Forest preference, if you're producing wood products out in the state of Alaska, you're using local timbers, you need to take a look at that. One of the biggest things that people ask and want to know more about is programs. Our financing section, I work a lot with the folks here in the finance section. They have available to you. The state does have loan programs. No grants are available that I'm aware of. Okay, so let's get one thing clear. Number one, grants are for nonprofit organizations, state and federal agencies, and loans are for businesses. Now, the state does have an Alaska microloan program. One of many that I am very familiar with is the one that provides $35,000 up to $70,000, and this could be used for capital expenditures to start your business up. This is something that the governor initiated a couple of years ago, and I think if you wanted to contact the ladies either in Juneau or here in the Anchorage office, I know for a fact they'll provide you with a lot more details and information about the programs. They are also on the website, and this is a hyperlink to the microloan program and the other loan programs throughout the state. That said, everything else, I think, Melissa, I think I did this pretty good. With about 40 minutes. The contact information for myself is on this presentation. Also, Matt McGee, like I said earlier. And if you are interested in the Alaska Employment Preference Program, you want to contact the Department of Labor Workforce Development. They'll provide you with more and further information. So with that, I'm out of breath, Melissa. I know it's fast, and I apologize for that, but you know, that's about all I've got to say at this point in time. Is there any questions that are out there?
If you have any questions, now would be a good time to unmute your lines or to go ahead and enter it into the chat box.
And you can Melissa.
No, Michael.
I'm saying you can tell me whether or not you like the presentation or not. You know, if there's some changes, some questions you might have about the programs that the state has, we're more than happy to point you in the right direction.
I want to remind everyone that we will post a recording of this webinar as well as a downloadable PDF of Michael's presentation and the presentation on AKSourceLink to our website. And I do want to let you know that we do have one more webinar left in this series. Let me, whoops, a little bit smaller here so y'all can see it. Okay. So it's called Business Plan Breakdown, and I introduced it at the beginning of this webinar as well, but just to remind folks, that will be taking place September 23rd from 2 to 3 p.m. You can register by emailing me at the email address shown on your screen. Of course, it's free, just like the webinars in the series. And over this webinar, we will cover just the basics of how to write a business plan. We'll go through the importance of each of the different sections of a business plan, and then also provide a brief introduction on how to get started. So if you're interested in that, or if you know someone who is, please be sure to register. And we just want to thank everyone for being a part of this.
Hey, can I ask one last question of the folks that participated? With you folks that have participated in this webinar or WebEx, could you let us know whether or not this information that was provided to you was helpful and effective for you developing your business? Just kind of curious. And with those, thank you very much for having me on board, and I want to thank everybody that did show up and attended this, and I look forward to talking to you folks about other opportunities in the future.
Great. Michael, I do want to let you know that if you look at the chat box there, you can see that Ruth commented that she was looking for more information about some of the different business programs that the state offers. So you might want to get in touch with Ruth individually as well and provide her some info on the array of programs that you all offer.
I will be more than happy to, Melissa. And Ruth, if you're still there on the line, feel free. I will be more than happy to look into the information that you're looking for. Thanks, Melissa, for having me, and you folks have a nice week.
Have a good day.